Welcome back to the Culture of Currency, where today we get to talk about the silver bullion of North America. So we have laid out here a couple of different countries represented. Obviously, we know a couple of these as they're very iconic, and we'll start with those as we know them. This is one of the most iconic and identifiable ones. It is actually one of the ones that I would say the stacking and collecting community like the most, and it is the Libertad. This is Mexico, right? We have the winged victory. We have the mountains in the background. Do note that I have detailed videos over the coins that you're going to see today on my channel. So if you see something you like, go ahead and check out the highly detailed video that I've made over this. For example, when you're just looking at this, you'll think, oh, it's pretty, but you wouldn't know the folklore behind those two mountains and how they're actually more important to the culture of Mexico than the winged victory, which actually goes back to ancient Greece. Beautiful coin overall, very, very standard when it comes to world bullion iconic coins. It's definitely one of the top and most identifiable. If you look on the other side here, you have all the different deviations of the Mexican flag, basically, in the progression of the eagle. I believe that what we have here are the states, if I can remember correctly, and then the nation of Mexico. But it also goes through the progressions. So that is the Libertad. I did pull another coin from Mexico because I absolutely love it. Even though it's not technically a bullion coin, it is one that I have fallen in love with, and that is this one right here. This is from the Olympics. This is when Mexico held the Olympics in the 60s, 1968, as we can see right here. So we have a Mayan, I would assume it's Mayan or Aztec, or maybe even Inca person here. Beautiful, beautiful coin. This will be high levels of silver, but it may not be 3 nines. It's probably closer to 90% would be my guess. And on the back, we have the Estados Unidos Mexicanos telling us that this is 25 pesos. So there are many, many beautiful coins that Mexico has put out that are silver, that are classic coins. This being probably my favorite of them, which is an Olympic variety, because it is so steeped in the actual culture and heritage of Mexico. So I thought that would be a fun one to bring to you, and maybe one that you'd never seen or did not know about. You can find these online, so now that you know it's out there, if you're in love with it, go get you one. So that's Mexico. Let's go to this one. This is very interesting. So this is the sovereign nation of the Sioux, the Lakota tribe of the Sioux. So if you have seen my videos over these types of coins, they are highly informative. And in fact, doing the research on them, I had no idea the scope and complexity that is the Native American reservations. So I go pretty in depth, especially on my first one, over kind of the history, the Native American culture on the Lakota reservations in the Dakotas, as well as how their tax structure is kind of carved out from the government, and so it makes it almost a war of attrition. This is the Sioux chief. So I'm not a politician. I do not know necessarily as much as I maybe should about these topics, but I have researched enough to where on the outside, it looks like what's happening is that they are living a pretty hard life here on the reservations, and there's not a whole lot of government assistance that makes it to where it's almost atrocious, where if we make life so miserable on these reservations, and eventually there'll be no one left on them, and the government can then take them over and use them for government purposes. That's almost the feel I get, and I could be wrong, but doing all the research that I've done over them leads me to think that that's a possibility, and I would hope that that's not the case. But coins like this do support the actual tribes on the ground there, this one being the Sioux chief. You see the Sioux chief here riding on the horse, Beautiful, beautiful coin from the sovereign nation of the Sioux. Those right there are the different tribes within it. Here's another one. This is one a viewer sent me. Once again, sovereign nation of the Sioux. And we have the chief right here. He's got what looks to be a Model 98 Winchester. I have one of those, if that's the same one. It's a beautiful gun. I love it. It's my grandfather's. And we have the teepee here. We have the prairie grass. Really cool, iconic scene. And given that he's adorned in his headdress and awesome regalia, this is probably more of a sign of peace than it is war, even though there is a rifle. Sometimes that was used for trading and things like that, but it almost does look like a negotiation is going to be taking place. Beautiful coins from the sovereign nation of the Sioux. Let's go to America now. Many of these coins you will know and love. Obviously, we have the American Silver Eagle. This is the brand new Type 2. I know we are still mixed in our views and beliefs about this coin. It has grown on me a little bit, but I still like the Type 1 better, which we'll get to in a second. Gorgeous, obviously, on the obverse. It is renowned. It is world class, as we know. The reverse, though still beautiful, I still like the traditional look that we've had for, quite some time, since I guess the 80s. And that would be this one right here. So obviously the obverse is the same. But when we get to the reverse, we have the classic look. Spread out wings. We have the stars. The ribbon in the mouth. I don't know. I know it doesn't quite look as cool, but it seems very official. And that's maybe why I like it. Is that this looks like it would be stamped on envelopes from the White House. It would be stamped on basically everything. So really cool depiction here. And I also picked out some other coins from America that are just standards that, they're not necessarily bullion, but they are silver coins that most people know and love. So this is the Peace Dollar in 1923. This was given to me by my grandmother and is what started my love for coins and silver coins. And so this being that said, this is the coin that kind of gave the inspiration for this channel a long, long time ago. Peace Dollar. One thing that I love about the Peace Dollar is that the bird is actually at peace. He's resting. He doesn't seem to be in flight or attacking or defensive or anything. No, he's resting, which is probably why this is denoted the Peace Dollar, other than obviously it was a time of peace. Beautiful coin. Next we have our classic Morgan. Morgan named after Mr. Morgan, who is the engraver, designer. 1901. This one is quite worn, but it was my first Morgan, so we put it in here. I always wonder about the stories. How many pockets this has been in, how many rooms, what conversations would this coin have heard over his 120 years of living. Classic. And then my favorite American coin. Once again, not a bullion coin, but a 90% or so silver coin. This has Morgan on one side. So that's Columbus, Christopher Columbus. It's the first time a human face was on, a human face that wasn't, just a random portrait, an actual person for American coins was this Columbus right here. And this is for the Columbian World's Fair, which happened in Chicago. And in fact, there's so many crazy things that happened with this coin, such as Houdini was there. There was a serial killer named H.H. Holmes. There was all kinds of crazy things that were first. Tesla was there. Edison was there. You name it. But yeah, that's what we have there. So we have Morgan and we have Barber on the other side. So this right here, we have the ship of Columbus and we have the hemispheres. Just a really cool coin that has captured a moment of history within America at a pivotal time. So 1893 is the year on this. Obviously, the reason being is that this was 2 years that this was kind of struck, 92, 93, and it highlighted obviously an anniversary from the 1492 sailing of Columbus. So that's why it was the Columbian Exposition World's Fair in Chicago, which if you don't know anything about that, you need to watch my video on this coin. There's a reason why this coin is maybe my favorite in my entire collection. It's not crazy valuable, but it is beautiful and it is steeped in fascinating American history. Really cool. All right, last country to talk about today. This is Canada. Very simple. We'll go through these. Here is a maple. As you can see, it's not necessarily the same maple as you know. I love this maple because of this Inukshuk right here on the left. This is to highlight, once again, the Olympics of Vancouver, which I find to be fantastic because this Inukshuk is a Native American collection of rocks to make different types of shapes and symbols. And so that being said, it highlights some of the people that were actually native to the land of Canada, as well as the beautiful maple turned to its side. So I thought this was even cooler than the standard maple. Obviously, we have a pretty classic look on this side. But that is the Inukshuk maple from the Vancouver Olympics. Here we have my favorite maple. We see the Inukshuk right there by Her Majesty. Really cool. So once again, Vancouver Olympics. But on the reverse, we have the Thunderbird. Look how cool that is. So the Thunderbird, obviously a big Native American symbol. We have the maple leaves adorning, kind of cascading around the Thunderbird. So we still have the tie-in to the classic maple. This is absolutely the epitome of my favorite maple. It has all of the elements that I have loved and think that it really ties in Native culture with Canada while highlighting a world event. Which, how can you get any better than that? Obviously, we have the standard maple, which a lot of people love, and I do too, to be honest. But I don't think it is, necessarily elite. I do think that this leaf is just fantastic, but the boringness that has come to be in the front, the obverse, is something that I think could be improved upon. So, for example, this, gorgeous. They've still got the queen there, which I know is needed, but you've also tied in other things. A lot of times on these coins, you will have privy marks that are really cool. You'll have a bear or something along those lines, but usually they're down here. So, being said, I think that they could incorporate some more Canadian aspects on this side and make it a little bit more interesting, though it is still a beautiful world classic coin. Here we have a great representation of what many have come to expect in Canadian coins. Obviously, the queen is on the front, and if you can tell, there's a bit of milk spotting. Milk spotting is somewhat classic on these coins, but this is a great horned owl coming from their owl series and or predator series. I can't remember exactly which one, but one amazing thing about Canada is they have really, really vast collections of different themes and really do a fine job when it comes to those themes. So other than the milk spotting, they tend to be one of the best mints out there for different types of themed coins, especially when it comes to nature. Speaking of that, here's another example. This is a silver dollar. So this is not necessarily a 1 ounce bullion coin, but it is a high value silver coin. And what we have here is the National Parks coin, which hosts the moose right there in the water, mountain looking over it. Canada does amazing things. And our last two coins here, these are silver dollars as well. As you can see, Canada right there. And what we have is probably my favorite of the silver dollars. This is Calgary, and they have a Stampede Festival, which is basically a month-long rodeo. I believe it to be the biggest rodeo in the world, which is just fantastic. Barbecue, horses, you name it. So if you're a cowboy or like the ideas of cowboys, this is a place you have to get to. Calgary during the Stampede Festival. So that is a beautiful, beautiful coin, silver dollar from Canada. And then we have a young queen because this is a much older coin. Beautiful case, 1975, highlighting Calgary. I believe it's their centennial coin, to be honest. And our last coin today, once again, comes from the Royal Canadian Mint, right here. There's Her Majesty, silver dollar coin, and when we look on the back side of it, we see an Indian in a canoe going through the river with the skyline of Toronto in the background. This is talking about 100 years of Toronto Centennial. So like we have talked about, Canada has fantastic pieces that should be considered for your collection if you are a collector. And if you are a stacker, obviously they've got that maple and other investment grade products available to you. So overall, the Americas have some cool coins. What I would love is if South America would get involved and we had some coins from Bolivia, from Argentina, from Peru. I've never seen those personally, but would really love to improve my collection, but I never seem to see bullion coins from those areas of the world. So this is just North America here, and we've already done the Caribbean, and so that covers basically all of that. So hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you got something out of it, and I hope that you always remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.